junior high in 1955. From there, I went to Horace Mann Senior High, where my sister also went to school. My mother worked in the laundry room at the Arkansas School for the Negro, Deaf and Blind. By the way, I use terms that we use to designate ourselves. Throughout our history in the United States, we have struggled to define ourselves. We now call ourselves African Americans. But in between, in the early 1960s, we took the term with pride, Black, designating ourselves as Black, because we had been brought up to be ashamed of being Black. You see, prejudice has an effect on the people that are being acted upon, that they sometimes assume the attitudes that are played against them. In the spring of 1957, the school district announced that Central High School would be desegregated the following fall. And those students who were interested were told to sign a list. Of course, we knew it involved more than just signing a list. I'm from an old-fashioned household where my parents were loving dictators. We were accustomed to having conversation across the dinner table, but we could never talk back. So when I asked my parents if I could go to Central, my mother, who I called the Queen of No, said, instead, she said, "We'll see. We'll see" continued from the spring and well into the summer. And then when the names of students were printed in the newspaper, the students who were to go to Central High School, I told my parents that I was going to miss out if they didn't contact the school district. They did. They said that I could go. But before that, we had to have a conversation with the district superintendent. He had already announced that he would make the final choice and that those students chosen had to be good students and they could not be a troublemaker. What was a troublemaker in the 1950s? Somebody who talked out of turn in class, somebody who chewed gum. Violence was not usual in 1950s in the schools. It was tolerated at Central High School, but that was unusual. So I anticipated going to school where people would say ugly things to me. But I thought that after they got to know me, that they would accept me. The governor of Arkansas called out the all-white National Guard to surround Central High School. It's a really, really big school. It's 2 blocks wide, and the grounds go 2 blocks deep. So on September 4th, I knew the National Guard would be there, but I thought that they would protect all students. So I had seen them break ranks to let white students pass through. But when I approached them at the corner, they closed ranks to bar me. I walked a little further down where there was another sidewalk to another entrance. And this time the soldiers crossed rifles to bar me. There were demonstrators across the street from the school shouting ugly, derogatory terms. But I still thought that the soldiers would protect me and other students. I arrived alone. I came to school by city bus because I did not know of any plans for a group of students to be accompanied by ministers. So the third time, I walked down to the center of that 2-block area where I could look ahead to the main entrances. This time, a soldier directed me across the street where those angry people were. When I stepped out into the street, they surged forward and quickly became behind me. Right in front of me, there was a large group of reporters, photographers, and television cameramen. I could not go back the way I had come because I would have had to pass very close through that throng of angry demonstrators. But I knew that there was another bus stop at the opposite end of the street, so I headed there. Excuse me, I have to turn my phone off, I'm sorry.